Well, I guess this is goodbye for the runner for now.
MOPBOYZ, MOPBOYZ. When that two-stroke pop, tell me who want to smoke with us. 12 o'clock on your block, this rumor scraping, it won't stop. Make these 70s whip, this caster smell like piss. In that balance point can't miss. Get behind me, throttle up and hit scooters.
Well, it is time to finally start tearing down the runner today. As you know, we've been talking about it for a while. This runner is going into a full build. This thing is gonna look nothing like it does right now once we are done. It's gonna be a whole new monster. We're gonna be doing just about everything you can do to this bike. I knew it was gonna be something that we wanted to dedicate our time to, so we had to finish up some other projects first, but now it is time. And last time when we brought this thing out to race the F12, it was running absolutely terrible. I'm not really sure why, but the runner has given up on us from just holding it off from doing this build apparently, because we don't have a working electric start anymore. And honestly, I don't even know if this thing will start right now, because last time she was not happy, boys. Oh my god, this bike's a mother to kick over. Oh, holy, the 180 is no joke to kick over. All right, well, she runs right now, but whew, that thing smells terrible. Runner is too smoking to the max right now. We are finally gonna be pulling off probably the most hated pipe I've ever seen on any of the bikes I've ever had. Boys, this pipe came with the bike. I did not put this pipe on. Doesn't matter. We got it like that. We have a full build for this thing. It's gonna be faster than it's ever been. It did not matter what pipe came on this bike. That's just what was on it. It's gone. This is the last time you'll ever see it. This is the last time you will see a majority of these parts that are on this bike right now, because a lot of these stock parts are gone. Quick look at some of the damage on this bike though. We're gonna need to get a headset. So if anyone does have a headset for a runner, it doesn't even have to be matching, because we're gonna end up painting this bike too. So we're gonna be looking into the forks, obviously, because these forks are completely blown out and these things have been blowing fork oil all over the place. So it's either we're gonna be rebuilding these or get the big Melosi ones, or if you know any better forks, let me know in the comments down below. With that being said, it is time to get this thing stripped apart. So we are about to be pulling everything off this bike to get started on this thing. I am stoked because it is finally time to start building this runner, which means we are taking this complete bike that you see here and we are stripping this thing down to raw frame and bare essentials today. We are planning on pulling this motor out, stripping the motor completely apart, and getting it to its raw engine cases, because we have so much work to do and so many parts to put on this thing. And definitely we need to get rid of this Technogas exhaust. This runner is actually sitting pretty clean right now, besides those minor dings that we went over just a moment ago. So for plastics, there really isn't much more that we need. It is all in the motor. So we have an empty tote sitting here on the side for all the stock parts that we're taking off that we won't be using pretty much ever again. And then we have a whole shelf right here for all the plastics and all the outer parts of the bike that we don't want to be breaking while inside of a box or a tote. So let's get started on taking off all these plastics, because it feels like we have about 1,000,000 screws to get these panels off of this bike. Right here is a very interesting setup, because under the badge on the front of this bike is actually where the bolt is that holds this front panel on. I remember the first time I took this bike apart, I was pretty amazed at that, because it took me a second to find it. But we pop that cover off and we access a bunch of the bolts that we need to get to take apart most of the plastics on this bike. Slowly but surely, we are going back and stripping all the panels of every single hardware that I can basically see. I'm not entirely too sure in the actual order that these panels come apart, because I have only taken off a few parts on this runner since we've gotten it. This bike is very complex compared to a lot of the other scooters we work on, especially the Yamaha Zuma, where it's basically one giant plastic and then just the front panel. Here you can see I found a couple more cracks underneath. It's missing 2 tabs and it's also broken right there at the corner. But overall, this scooter doesn't have that many problems, other than most of the paint being kind of faded and stained, which really doesn't matter because I plan on painting this scooter entirely. I haven't really painted many panels on most of my bikes. I usually buy new panels, but this one I want to go for a custom paint job and I want to do a bunch of graphics. I want to make this thing pop. Hence why I keep talking about how we are going so deep on this build, because we're going to do this one different than we ever have. And this runner is going to be an absolute machine when we are done with it. Now with having most of these panels off and the shelf starting to fill up with all our plastics, we know we're getting somewhere with stripping this bike down now. And boys, this is a reminder that these YouTube videos come to you for free. So if you would like to support the channel and help with keeping everything going here, you can go down to the description below, grab yourself some gear off MOPBOYZ.com. We have keychains, t-shirts, stickers, and of course right now, every item you buy is one entry to win our giveaway engine. We are giving away a horizontal Minarelli that is fully built up with a 70cc Polini Corsa kit from crank to top end, a bunch of goodies on here with a Polini carb stage 6 intake, a full CVT build, and much, much more. If you want to see full details, make sure you go to MOPBOYZ.com. Check out the engine giveaway details and grab yourself some merch to get entered to win. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. All right, this is where we currently stand on the runner. As you can see, we pretty much just stripped off all the plastics and everything that is hiding everything on this bike, if you will. Now we are sitting at the craziest looking setup I've ever seen on a scooter, and I've talked about it before, but if you didn't see last time when I talked about this, the fuel tank on this thing is massive. It might not be to the boys that are overseas, but us American boys, it is rare that you get more than 1 gallon or like 2.53 liter gas tanks on a bike. So this one right here is 3 gallons or about 11, 12 liters or so. And it is absolutely massive. It is also totally different because typically on all of these scooters, the fuel tank sits in the back and it's gravity fed through a normal petcock that drops down right into the carburetor. Now this one, because this one goes so far down into the bottom of the frame, the fuel outlet is way, way down here. It's actually way, way down here, right on this side. And the carburetor sits way higher up, and as you can see, it's still a distance from the carburetor. So this goes from the fuel inlet cap all the way down to the very, very bottom. Now this is the fuel outlet. The fuel outlet goes looped around to the other side, goes into a big vacuum style fuel pump, which is driven by an intake line right here on the side of the case by the intake, which pumps it up into a reservoir right here. Now this reservoir has the normal style fuel petcock, which you typically see on the bottom of every other style gas tank. Drops into here, goes out this side. Of course, on this fuel petcock, you have 2 lines. Now one is the fuel outlet, one is also another intake line going to the side of the carb. This outlet goes into a fuel filter, which 90s, and then goes into the carburetor as well. It looks like something's leaking here, possibly the fuel filter. Potential problems. Then, also on this reservoir, because it's a 3-way reservoir, it also goes back up to the top of the gas tank here. Now I'm assuming this is probably an overflow or something of the such, maybe a return. I doubt it's a return if it's going up, but crazy, crazy setup on here. Now I've heard things about when you build a runner, especially a 172 kit and a big carb on it, I heard that you can run this reservoir dry at a long open pull because it's pulling so much fuel through, and this thing doesn't get enough fuel pumped up from the bottom to compare with how much it's pulling through to your carburetors. So I'm asking you boys right now in the comments, to people who are familiar with runners, is that a problem you've had with a built runner, or is that not a worry? If it is a problem, what do you do to fix that? Nonetheless, we got a lot of time before we get into the part where we're putting that back together and figuring that out. So hopefully some people let me know down in the comments. We need to get this bike fully stripped down because we plan on painting this frame. So we have to get literally every single thing off this bike. So we're going to keep chipping away at that, boys. It is time to start draining all the fluids out of the runner. We already drained the fuel tank completely. As you can see, we have the oil tank removed. And well, we're about to get this all over our hands, but there goes nothing. That is some green. Let's get all that cooling out, boys. That water cooled life. There's a little bit more steps to getting this motor out on this one. Got a lot going on back here. The water pump. So bunch of lines on this runner. We're slowly chipping away. We're labeling some of them, as you can see, just to make it easier when we put it all together. We got rid of our gas tank, we got rid of the radiator, and we got rid of all the plumbing and wire harness. So basically right now we're gonna work on popping the side cover case off, getting the oil pump cable and throttle cable off the bike, getting that exhaust off, and then kind of work on freeing up everything around the motor. Half our tote full, we got a whole shelf full of plastics, and here we have all the guts that we just took off our rolling chassis. So as you can see, we have our massive gas tank there. Most of these lines are going in the garbage. We're gonna be running pretty much all new coolant and fuel lines. After further research, it looks like a lot of people upgrade the fuel outlet here and on the reservoir, and they actually run bigger fuel line to compensate for the upgraded motor with this setup. So that's something to note. Got our crusty radiator over here, which is pretty fried on inside, so we might be changing that to a different radiator. I saw Melosi makes an MHR radiator for this, or maybe we'll find just a replacement one. Who knows? That's way later on in the build. We still have a ton to figure out with what direction we actually want to go with a lot of the parts for this bike. I pretty much only have the main essentials for the motor. So the cylinder, the crank, the carb, the intake, things like that. But for CVT wise, I'm still open to suggestions as I haven't picked out entirely everything I needed. But we are continuing with stripping down this engine. As you saw, we just pulled off the exhaust, and now we're pulling off the rear wheel so I can get this caliper off of here, and of course the rear hub itself. we are taking this motor down to its bare cases. So basically every bolt you see, you are taking off it. We now have the bike sitting at a point where we are basically ready to pull the motor out. Everything is disconnected harness wise. There's nothing connected coolant line wise. Simple enough. There is only one long motor bolt that goes horizontal, and then we have a shock bolt. We're pulling the shock one out from the top, and that'll kind of just drop right back onto the rear wheel. And then we have the one long bolt in the front that runs through both tabs on the engine case. After pulling that out, kind of just wheel this motor out, and then that's it. There she sits in all her glory. A stock 180cc runner engine. This is the last time this motor will ever be stock again. I only put the wheel on because it was a little easier to roll the motor out of the frame when I had the wheel on. So let's take this wheel back off now, put it on the workbench because we need to continue with stripping down the engine cases. A beast of an engine, but it will only be better once we are done. I cannot wait to feel the true power of this engine because my friend Brandon's that I ride is what really motivated me to go all out and build this thing to a 172. We finally have the 180 block sitting on the workbench. That means it is time to finally start tearing this motor down. You can see here we have our raw frame with just our front end together here, which we very soon will drop the forks out of and pull this front end off, and then we will be left with our raw frame that we can sand down and get ready for paint. Even though you'll never see this frame, I want to repaint it because we are already going so far into this build, and I hope I'm never down to the frame like this again. Why not do it right the first time, right? And as you can see, there's a lot of surface rust on here, so I'm kind of debating on getting this thing sandblasted or if we can just sand it ourselves. But anyways, you know, we want to prevent any more rust from where the metal is raw in some areas, so we're going to sand it down and paint it with either steel it or powder coat. I'm still debating on that right now. As you can see though, this engine is absolutely filthy. This thing is caked in oil. It's not that it's super thick, but it is almost stained with an oily film across the whole entire engine block. So I think we're going to get this thing vapor honed actually. So we're going to strip this thing down to its bare cases today. Because we are going to be doing a full motor build with crank bearings, etc., there is no point to leave anything else on these cases at this moment. So we are stripping every single thing out of this right now. We'll see what happens, boys. We'll see how she starts looking. Oh no. We're in a problem right now. I don't have the flywheel puller that is the exact size as this flywheel is. And both of them, they don't thread in the outsides. If you're familiar with these basically thread to the flywheel, and then this bolt pushes off the crank and it kind of pulls your flywheel off because this is a giant magnet. It is very, very difficult to get off without using one of these. There's no threaded holes on here, so I can't try to use another puller style thing I have. Very limited on what to do here. So I think we're gonna do the right thing and order the right one because we'll probably need it anyways in the future. Besides that, we do have another issue though. As you also saw, these bolts down here are all stripped. Sucks very, very bad. And I tried using a bunch of different style Phillips that I have, and no matter what, those things aren't coming out. So I think we're gonna have to do the very, very scary task of drilling a tiny little hole in there to kind of relieve some of that pressure. Try cracking them out from then. If not, I'm gonna take either a Dremel or a drill and drill off the top of the bolts and then pull this off and come back and get the rest off after. But yeah, kind of sucks. That's where we're sitting. We really can't do anything even if we get it off right now anyways, because this is gonna be stuck on there and the stator behind that. So we need to get that ordered before we do anything. But we still have some things we could do today, and that is cleaning this case. Let's get this thing out and power wash it and see if we can't get this thing to shine up just a little bit better for us to start the build. I was hoping to get it down to the cases before I did that and not have to get water in here, but we're not using any of this anyways. And that brings us to something that we need to talk about right now, and that's clots. We are huge two-stroke enthusiasts here on the channel. Everything you see behind me right here is actually two-stroke. If you're a two-stroke guy, you're probably familiar with clots. Now, what I know clots as is actual good quality two-stroke oil, but they are much, much more than that. And they have a ton of products. And we just got a box of some in, and we're gonna open up that right now because it's gonna help us with this runner build. I wanna make sure this motor's gonna be dialed and last as long as possible. More than anything, treated right. So we're gonna be switching over to a lot of Clots products for a lot of the bikes here on this channel. Got a whole bunch of stuff off the Clots line, but most importantly, this is what we need right now to get some of this oil stuff off of here. The GPC 2.3. This is gonna be like a degreaser and get all this oil off of here. We're gonna hit it with a brush. We're gonna try to clean this motor up as much as possible, but we're probably also gonna be doing vapor honing on this engine because I want these cases looking brand new. And of course, some assembly lube from when we assembled this entire engine build. We have everything on every style two-stroke oil that we can imagine. Oil injection to straight up race oil. This is what I'm really stoked on right here. Now, Clots even makes candles with their castor oil. Can you believe that? I thought this was a joke. I've seen these online. I thought it was an actual joke, but they really sell these. This should help us get our runner dialed in and get all these bikes running with some of the best two-stroke oil available so we can make long-lasting engines here in the MOPBOYZ garage. If you want to know more about Clots, make sure you check out their website because they have all the specs and details on exactly what all these oils consume to make sure that you're getting the proper oil for your engine. Some plug cleaner, detailing, all the bits. Thank you, Clots. Let's get to degreasing this engine and see if we can't shine this thing up now. Slowly but surely we are chipping away at degreasing this engine. As you can see, it is just raining on the ground, all the oil dripping off this block. Underneath all this oil though is a pretty stained case. Like I said, this motor sat in Japan. Even though it's from Europe, it sat in Japan for a few years and it took a toll on it. Well, as you saw, we weren't able to get the flywheel off, so we overnighted the part to do that. This is the condition of the motor now, and this thing is trashed still. We got a whole layer of grease and oil off this thing, but as you can see, this motor is just completely stained, and that's why I want to vapor hone it and get it all shining like a fresh aluminum block. So I moved this out here because I hate the sound of this thing, but we started the process on soaking these things in the parts cleaner. That one's nasty. And kind of let that thing go. We are currently on hold until tomorrow when that comes in, so we'll get back to it tomorrow. 12 hours later, thanks to Amazon Prime, we got a whole adapter kit. Still barely wanted to thread in because these things were all rusted up, so let's see if she works now. Oh my god. Wow. Dude, that thing is heavy. We also nicked it with a bolt last night, but it looks like it's not too much damage, so we are good on that. I was kind of scared for a little bit, not gonna lie. Now we got to the screws that aren't stripped. We still have to figure out our strip screw situation, but now that we got the flywheel off, that's a big deal. We're a lot closer now to being able to split these cases open. Let's just see if our luck is gonna be this bad today. Or if it's just those one screws. Oh, these ones too. These are all these screws are so tight on this thing, dude. Okay, got that one. Why can't everything just be Allen wrenches? And I know someone's gonna say these are JIS screws or whatever, even though this isn't really like a Japanese motor, I'd assume it wouldn't be, but we're using a screwdriver that fits in here. Perfect. It's just the fact that these things are so damn tight. These ones down here though are all done for, dude. Thank God. Oh, I did it. Oh, I got that one. Wow, and that thing was stripped too. Okay. Let's test our luck on this one. This one has like nothing to it. That one just stripped. Okay, that one's done for. Let's try first with drilling just a tiny little hole to relieve the stress in it. And if that doesn't work, I wish we can get this completely flat. I drilled a hole through this one, a tiny little pilot hole, with this tiny little drill bit. And I relieved all the stress like I thought, and she came right out. So we didn't even drill it all the way through, so we're not getting to the point of the threads. It's pretty much just kind of creating a hollow point in the bolt so it kind of caves in on itself. A little tiny hole, and it didn't even go all the way through or anything, but made the biggest difference. So much metal stuck to that thing now. All right, you're kind of gonna have to hold the motor again. Oh yeah, see how much easier it comes out? It's crazy. These bolts off, just drilling the little pilot holes in them, making them fall right out. Gave that one a little more sauce because that one's completely round. Hopefully the extra metal on the top here creates a better surface for us. That's what I'm hoping for. Oh yeah, that's how we do it. We got one more on the stator itself, and this thing's actually gonna be coming out today now. Starter on this thing. Looks like a car starter. She's free. She is free. Couple case screws. Whoa, that looks crazy down in there for the water pump. Hopefully we got everything removed because there she goes. There's the water pump. Look at that thing. See, we're gonna get the whole case shining like that on this outside because this is nasty right now. Big ass crank. Oh, I see all the clips for that down there. Damn, that thing feels rough. Alright, now the fun side. Second half. That's a big old crank right there. She's got some play to her too. In both directions, up and down and side to side, so definitely a good thing we're going all out. All right, boys, we have stripped the motor completely apart. As you see here, we have our stock cylinder. It's actually in really good condition still. You can still see the cross hatches in here. Piston's in pretty good condition. It's dirty as can be, but definitely had an exhaust leak going on here. As you can see, all the buildup down below the exhaust port down there. Crank looks pretty decent, a little rusty. She definitely has a lot of play in the rod here, up and down play and side to side play. Side to side is kind of normal, but the up and down play is pretty gnarly in this thing right now. We got our cases here all disassembled. We got the bearings and the seals out of the cases now, so these things are pretty much ready to be vapor honed now. We're going to be cleaning every bit of these cases before we start assembling things. We're going to have brand new water pump and all of the pieces for the water pump, brand new seals, and we'll probably do gearbox and up gear as well. Going to try to find OEM bushing replacements to see if we can put brand new motor mount bushings here, even though these ones aren't that bad. Gonna see what we can do about that. I know for sure we're gonna be replacing this one, the silent block one. Look how toasted that thing is. Those go out really easy from what I've heard. So that is it for the end of the runner now. This thing is stripped down to bare bones. Take a look at the frame. The only reason I'm keeping the front end on it right now is because it makes it so much more easy to move this thing around and leave it on the kickstand until we get to the point where we are painting that, and that's probably gonna be coming next time on the runner. I plan on for the next video having these cases vapor honed, and we'll start assembling the motor as well as getting everything prepped from the bottom part of the frame and up, so painting all that. Runner will be going through major changes from this crappy exhaust to our PM tuning, and from our old stock cylinder here to this beautiful PM tuning cylinder. This runner is going to do a complete 180 and it's going to look better than it ever has. From all the colors to all the parts, this bike's going to be a brand new bike and I'm excited to see what's to come with that. Make sure you check out the description down below. If you want to grab yourself some of the MOPBOYZ gear and get entered into the giveaway, we are coming to the last couple weeks on this giveaway, so make sure you get your entries in, and that's going to do it for this one, boys. Stay tuned for the next build video on the runner.